All right, Laura, would you like to do the honours with the
I certainly do.
with the coffee?
I certainly would.
Normally we drink tea.
But we got a comment saying, why do booktubers always feel the need to slurp tea in our faces? This is for you, whoever that was. We're having coffee instead.
Having coffee. We are now into Q2. And I don't know how many books. How many books have you read, do you think, so far this year?
Not as many as you.
I've read 16 so far.
I think I'm on like 9.
9.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I definitely feel like this has been a very, like, some of the books that I've read at the start of this year have been exceedingly strong. Like, all-timers.
Thing is, I'm a serial DNFer. Like, I won't finish a book if it's less than a 3-star read. If
to be honest, less than a 4 for you sometimes.
Yeah. If I'm not enjoying it, I won't finish it.
Yeah. But today, rather than talking about books that we didn't enjoy or that we found, I don't know, not as good as we'd hoped, today we're specifically going to talk about books, the best books that we've read so far this year, right?
Yeah.
And you'll notice, I mean, most of these books will have done some kind of review video of or a book club video of.
Yes,
but
yeah.
if you hadn't caught those, this is a really good opportunity to catch up.
It's a nice little roundup of what we've been reading for the first 3 months of 2024.
Shall we kick off with some honourable mentions?
Yes.
And then we're going to do a top 3 for each of us.
Yes.
Because, you know, you don't have time for 5s. Let's do a top 3. All right, so I'm going to kick off because I want to talk about, very briefly, about Rivers of London, which was our book club one for, was it February? Or maybe January. Anyway, earlier this year. Ben Aranovich, fantastic book. First time I'd read it.
I've read it
third,
many times.
We managed to meet him, which was very cool, at Gollancz Fest, and we managed to get dedication right there.
From the man himself.
From the man himself. Amazing stuff. Yeah, great book. Brilliant book. Urban fantasy. From your ends.
Yes. Yeah, he's a London boy.
Yeah. So getting to see fantasy in an area of the world that you sort of know is really good fun.
Or that you know quite intimately, in my case. Fantastic
crime fantasy, urban fantasy, lots of very good twists, very interesting characters. Can't recommend it highly enough. And now I have more honourable mentions than you, so I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to choose another one.
Okay.
One of the first books I read this year was The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, because, well, neither of us really enjoyed Empire of the Vampire, did we?
Oh my word.
Not so good.
Come at me. Come at me. J. Christoph fans. I DNF'd that book so hard I nearly threw it out the window.
Yeah. DNF'd it against the wall is the old expression, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it left me with a craving for vampires, done well. So I picked up The Historian from a recommendation on Discord somewhere. And cracking book, really recommend it. A secret history book. Great fun. Really good. Got any honourable mentions for us, Laura?
Yeah. So this is one that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did. This is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a lovely little novella. It's about a humanoid security unit.
Humanoid being like, but it's got computer bits in
yes,
it, right?
but it is, mostly robot, I'd say. More robot than it is human, and it manages to hack its own governance unit and uses its newfound freedom to watch hundreds of thousands of hours of soap operas, and it's just incredibly socially awkward. And doesn't know how to interact with people, and really would just much rather be left alone.
Same.
Exactly.
Very empathetic character.
Honestly, I have never related so hard. Really fun little read, and I absolutely devoured it, and then I devoured the rest of the series, and just really enjoyed Murderbot. If you're looking for a fun little kind of palate cleanser between heavier reads, highly recommend.
Yeah, don't let the name Murderbot put you off. Speaking of shorter reads, I've got another one here. I read The Tombs of Atuan by Ursula K. Le Guin, one of my favourite authors of all time.
I also love Ursula K. Le Guin.
A Wizard of Earthsea is like right up there. But I'd never read this one, and it's really short. It's a delightful follow-up. You get to see Ged again, but he's not in most of the story. Most of the story follows a girl who's been given the status of priestess by this kind of closeted society, and she's kind of given the dominion of these tombs. But it's a really good exploration of indoctrination, a bit of kind of like mystery. It's a really, really interesting little book and has a fantastic end. And last book I want to include in my honorable mentions, I can't actually talk about, but all I can say is one of our dearest friends actually, wrote a book, and he sent me one of the early drafts of it. And it is, I mean, if I could tell you about it, I'd be putting it in number 1 in this list because it is such an extraordinary book. And I'm really hoping that he manages to get some wider audience for it when he releases it, because it's just, it's extraordinary. It is incredible. That tease you, and we can pass on any comments of you all asking to know what this book is to our friend. Shall we start in our top 3 then?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Laura, you are first. Would you like to talk about your number 3 book for this year so far?
So my number 3 book so far of the year, and there's going to be a theme running through this list, is Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio.
Who's that? Don't know. What does he do?
If you followed this channel at all over the last couple of months, you'll know that Ross has become borderline obsessed with the Sun Eater saga. And Empire of Silence is the first of the Sun Eater saga. It follows our protagonist, Hadrian Marlowe, as he begins his adventures across the Solan Empire. But this one is set on his home planet, and it is set on the... Well, I'm not going to spoil it.
No.
I'm not going to spoil it. This isn't a spoiler video.
Nope.
All I will say is that this is some of the best fantasy I've ever read. I think it's absolutely stupendous. We did a full spoiler review that you can go and find, and we'll put a link up here for you to go and click and go
there, I think, up there.
Over there. That you can click and go and watch it if you want to see a spoiler review of it. But suffice to say,
it's a hell of a start. And it only gets better. It only gets better.
And Rossi, what is your number 3?
So I've now read 4 books from the Sun Eaters sequence. So this one is Kings of Death. This is number 4 from the Sun Eaters sequence. So this is my 3rd favourite book so far this year. I've been struggling. I really want to make a review video for this book on the channel, but it's one of those books where you really don't want to tell people what happens in it, because having those surprises, those twists retained for you really does enhance the reading experience. It's a fantastic book. It's a self-contained story. Doesn't have the same sort of galaxy spanning scale, I think, of books 2 and 3. And I felt that book 3 was a small disappointment. So this was a real kind of return to form, I think, for Christopher Ruocchio, and an extraordinary book. It reminds me, the start kind of, what I can talk about, it reminds me a bit of The Left-Handed Darkness by Ursula Le Guin. Again, another shout out for her. Also reminds me a bit of The Priest's Tale from Hyperion. A lot of references there that if you've read either of those 2 things, you should get the references, how it relates. But I don't really want to explore them too much. Just want to leave it for you to find out. So number 3 for me, Kings of Death by Christopher Ruocchio.
So my number 2 of the year so far is A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie.
Well, Laura, that might also happen to be my number 2 too.
Oh, well, what a happy coincidence.
Happy coincidence.
It's almost like we planned this.
So this was our most recent book club book.
It was. And again, we'll pop a little link up here.
Yeah.
That you can go and watch our spoiler review. We did, I think it's like a 40-minute video of us talking about how much we love this book.
Yeah.
But to summarise, this is the first of the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, who we are now considering a close personal friend, having met him for a full 15 minutes.
Ride together and die together.
It's fantastic. So the Age of Madness trilogy is the second of Joe Abercrombie's trilogies. It follows the more famous first Lore trilogy,
which is phenomenal and extraordinary, and one of probably our favourite trilogies of all time.
Yeah.
So to do this, to pull this off,
Yeah, it's quite a feat. Well done, Joe.
I genuinely think, although I've put it in second place, I genuinely think this is basically a perfect book.
Yeah, it's really good.
If you were to say to me, Ross, can you point to anything you didn't like about this book? I would come up blank.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good. It's, oh God, it's really, 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 really good. The only thing I would say is if you haven't read the first law, you might struggle with it.
You might miss some bits.
You might, yeah, there is some like context that you might miss. So it follows the generation after the characters of the first law. So we're talking literally like the children of the characters from the first law. And it is set in an Industrial Revolution-esque world.
Mm-hmm. It has themes of kind of societal upturn, of who holds the strings. It has the most incredible character growth over just one short book. Yeah. And each character has so much depth. And also,
it's really funny.
It is laugh out loud funny. for a book from Lord Grimdark.
Yeah, called A Little Hatred.
It is hilarious.
So funny. There were multiple points where I had to just stop and like compose myself. Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's so funny, and I can't wait to get started on the next one. So
Laura.
Yes, Rob.
What is your number one book so far in 2024?
So far in 2024, my favourite book that I've read so far has been The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne.
Ah, Mr. Gwynne.
Oh my word. I love this book so much that I did my first ever solo review for this channel on this book. And I think it's still my only solo book review.
But it won't be.
But it won't be.
There'll be more.
But so far, it's the only book that I've read and then immediately been like, I need to tell the internet about this book. It's the sort of book that you can smell it. Mm-hmm. You can feel it under your nails. You feel like it. You get to know these characters so intensely. I love character-driven books so much. I'm very much character focused. More than plot. It follows 3 main POV characters, and it is set in a world that's very Norse mythology inspired. And in this world, the gods are dead. They have killed each other off. They are extinct. And there are certain individuals in human society that have certain traits that are descendant from those gods, and those people are known as the Tainted. Mm-hmm. And in like the throes of battle and things like that, they can channel their divine bloodlines, and
sounds sick.
Suddenly they have claws, and like their eyes go like amber, and they're like, and you're like, oh my god!
It sounds like
it is dope.
It sounds like a metal concept album. I love that.
It's so cool.
Why haven't I read this yet?
I don't know. It's so cool.
Let's be honest. Fantasy as a genre is such an opportunity for cool.
It's so cool, and I've always said that people that are into fantasy and sci-fi are just people that are really unapologetically enthusiastic about the things that they're into. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's anything to be ashamed of. I'm a huge sci-fi fantasy nerd, and I hold my hands up and I'm proud of it. I don't even care anymore. And I think that this book is so freaking cool, and everyone should go and read it.
What a recommendation. If you're not going out and buying this book right now, what are you doing?
I'm in the middle of reading the second in the series, which is called The Hunger of the Gods, in anticipation of the third in the series coming out later this year, which is The Fury of the Gods. I am just so enraptured with this world that John Gwynne has created. I'm so... Oh!
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So, we talked about Sun Eater, and I really can't emphasize highly enough how significant this series has been for me. Like, I haven't had an experience reading a series of books like this since A Song of Ice and Fire, where I was ditching friends to go and read it late at night at uni when I was reading Song of Ice and Fire. And I feel like it evoked the same feeling in It has evoked the same feeling for me as the Sun Eater Saga. And the best one of these that I've read so far has been Howling Dark, book number 2.
In a surprise to literally no one at all.
No, if you've seen the video, you know. What else can I say about it? Maybe I'll just tell you a little bit about it. We talked about Empire Silence, and after Empire Silence, the world opens up for Hadrian Marlowe. You know, I feel like Empire Silence is almost like the prologue to the series. And Howling Dark is the first book where we get to span that whole galaxy, where we get to see the kind of the nuance of what's around. You know, what is this world that Christopher Ruocchio has created? It explores deep themes of personhood, of very timely things about AI and about the ability of AI to essentially destroy everything, but also to create kind of immense opportunity. Deeper down, we see what does it mean to even be a human? What does it mean to have consciousness? What does it mean for that consciousness to continue? And it has probably one of the best first acts I think I can remember reading ever. It's kind of got that kind of almost Blade Runner 2049 aesthetic. It has brilliant characters, excellent action, and I don't usually go in for action. It's just so interesting, so enticing. You should, even if you're struggling with Empire Silence, you need to finish it just so you can give Howling Dark a go, because I think this is just extraordinary. It is still my favourite of the 4 I've read. My understanding is that Disquiet Gods, the 6th one, which is down there behind Laura, is kind of more of this, which I can't wait to get to it. So anyway, Howling Dark gets my number 1 pick for books this year. I said it in the review. I don't know how any other book is going to beat it for 2024, but we'll see. Maybe there will be something. I love this book. I love this series. Christopher Ruocchio, thank you. Just thank you.
So I guess the next question is, what are you looking forward to reading for Q2?
Q2. Obviously, I've got more books of the Sun Eater to read, so I'm really looking forward to getting to those. I've taken a little pause just to get some more books. Kind of, you got to have a little palate cleanser. Currently, we're reading what we're reading. We're
currently reading The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence as our book club book.
Yeah.
There'll be a video coming out of our thoughts about that in a couple of weeks' time.
We've already picked our next book club book, which will be
The Promise of Blood by Brian McLennan. This was recommended by several close friends of ours who have impeccable taste and who we trust implicitly. So Sam, Mayor, if you're watching, thank you in advance.
I've got a few. Yeah, I'm desperate to finally read Dead House Gates. I've started it, but just wasn't the right time. So that's Stephen Erickson. We're probably seeing Esme Yakimi Pearson again at Chimera Fest.
Yeah.
So it's probably a good idea that we read her book too.
Yeah.
I've got more. I've hidden some over here.
Ross is a faster reader than me.
James
if you
Logan,
haven't noticed.
The Silver Blood Promise. Another guy who's going to be at Chimera Fest, which we're going to. That's in Edinburgh, by the way. If you want to join us, go do it. Buy a ticket. Silver Blood Promise. That sounds great.
So I'm definitely going to be reading The Trouble with Peace. Can't wait, because absolutely loved A Little Hatred, as I mentioned. Can't wait. Super excited for that. I'm also hoping to finish reading The Hunger of the Gods, which I'm currently about halfway through.
Up there,
it's up there, yeah.
Get it, Laura.
I'm not tall enough. You made the shelves too high. Here it is.
Big Wolf.
Big Wolf. So I am about halfway through. I'm not reading this because this is a signed first edition. So I have a reading copy that I drop in the bath and carry around in my rucksack and get makeup all over. This stays on the shelf.
No touch.
If anyone's also reading this and wants to talk to me about it, please hit me up. I'm on Instagram. You can find us at Hardy's Books. Please DM us. Slide into my DMs with those John Gwynne hot takes. Specifically, Elvar, ? I have thoughts.
And she can't share them with me because I haven't read it.
Yeah.
I've got one more, which is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. Heard lots of good things about this one. I think it's in Andrew Watson's potentially next read along, although I don't know if that's
depending on whether his
on
patrons vote for it.
Yeah.
But we hope that they do.
Currently, it seems like they are.
I'm also reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I mean, I've got a few books on the go, actually.
We've always got books on the go.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get all through all of those, then we're doing well, right?
So, as I mentioned, you can find us on Instagram and on TikTok at Hardy's Books. You can also find us on Discord. We're very active on Andrew Watson's Discord server. So if you head over to his channel, I'm sure you can find a link to his server in one of his video descriptions. We have our own shop, which is the whole reason that we're here. We sell first editions, signed editions, limited editions. So if you, like us, love beautiful signed first editions, not this one's mine. This is not for sale.
Hands off.
But do head over to hardysbooks.co.uk and have a look at some of the lovely books that we have got for sale over there. If you are enjoying our content, then hit that like button and that subscribe button. And I think that's everything.
I can't think of anything else to add.
So enjoy Q2, everyone. And yeah, if you can't be good, at least be safe.
That's great.